Welcome.
To the OG's podcast, episode 4. Yeah,
It's
the third one just isn't published yet
right.
because there's some nefarious things said about a certain person. It was me. I was talking shit about my grandma.
Okay. Cool. I'm Meredith Hopping.
I'm Kelsey Quinlan.
And we thank you so much for bearing with us in the interim when we have not. Why is this funny? In the interim when we haven't had an episode come out because life happens even while you're trying to make podcasts.
Yes. Yeah, life. So, what are we talking about today, Meredith?
Well, I feel like we should do a little bit of a catch up.
Oh, sure. Like in life?
Yeah, so we both had kids that we didn't
we didn't bear children since you last saw us. Keeping it tight.
Reproductive technology these
It's
days. Woo!
You can leave them in a canister and they do the work for you. That's
But
how
it
they
has
made
to
a
be
sheep.
those
No, that's a clone.
fancy push OXO ones that you put stuff in your pantry. There's got to be good suction around the top of the canister.
Worst word
or the
ever.
baby isn't going to fully develop.
I did not know that piece of information. Thank you, Meredith.
Did you ever go to the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago and the different stages of a fetus that are actual
feti?
It's fetuses.
It's fetuses.
Isn't it?
Fetuses, yeah.
It's not feti.
But feti is funnier. The rules for multiples of things are arbitrary
all
at
over
best.
the place.
So,
no, we both have kids that had birthdays. That's a better way to say that.
Our children turned 5. Both of our children did 2 days apart, which is kind of cute.
Kind of cute. It's
both
also
have
a lot.
Aquarius
There's
children.
just a lot.
Yeah, life.
Life. We last talked about my mom having 2 years left to live. It's actually a little shorter than that. She's on hospice now. So really, that asshole comic from the Daily Show Writers Tour.
An asshole now?
He should have given it up.
Should have spent a little more time with Susan Owens.
Should have given her Make-A-Wish. Now she's never gonna get a Jewish
Never
man.
say never. There's
unless
time.
in heaven, I guess.
I don't.
That's a whole thing.
That's a whole theology.
Do you
thing
have
that,
sex in heaven?
I just.
Randy said, "Oh yeah,
oh yeah." I was listening. Who was I listening to? It was like a podcast. And I was trying to think if it was Hassan Minaj. I need to. Dax Shepard says his name Hassan, but Dax Shepard says a lot of things incorrectly, almost endearingly. So I'm like, no, I don't know. But anyways, I don't remember if it was him or some. I don't know. But they were saying that in heaven, theoretically, there wouldn't be any comedy because there should be any conflict. Which I'm like, that's stuck with me.
But laughter happens without conflict.
That's true. It's something to explore.
For sure.
Some
Not
PhD
for this episode,
candidate that's got daddy's money can explore that further on our behalf. We don't have time for that.
That's great. So yeah, we had kids had birthdays. My mom went on hospice.
It's been a heck of a time. There's been lots of weather activities.
Oh my goodness. 2 ice storms.
Hello, St. Louis. I
Hello,
don't remember there
global
being
warming.
this much weather phenomena.
It's not global warming because it's so cold. Am I right?
Snowflakes. Am I right? Literally snowflakes.
Ukraine. We probably shouldn't get into that. But
yeah,
man, their president is hot.
He is.
I'm a sapiosexual, and woo, that man's heroics. Yikes.
And his wife's gorgeous. Like,
Oh my
they're just a power
goodness.
couple. Someone tweeted, do you think we should really be getting involved in a war when their president is really hot and ours is not? Like, what kind of precedent does that set?
Young Joe was pretty hot.
Not my type, but
I mean, I also found young Bernie hot. So let's not put again, sapiosexuals shouldn't be
we shouldn't be polling you for
making
physical
determinations on
attractiveness.
who's hot physically.
We'll let
Now
you
I feel like I have
look up
to,
sapiosexual.
right? No, because I've got family who's going to be like, her mom's dying and she comes out on a
They're
podcast.
like, what letter is that?
It just means I'm attracted to intelligence and or personality and conviction and character more than I am physical.
We should look into famous sapiosexuals.
Yeah.
There's a joke there somewhere. Anyways, Anna Nicole Smith, she probably counts.
Oh my God.
Oh wait, she died.
Yeah, that's such a problem.
No, well, she married an old dude, so she was obviously not in it for his looks.
Well, the going theory.
I'm choosing not to believe she's a gold digger. She just happened upon the piles of gold.
I too am a feminist and want to believe the best about Anna Nicole Smith.
I don't know. She's
it's not one of those dilemmas that keep me up at night.
Yeah.
So
No.
I think that if she may have been a gold digger, but she also took care of him. I'm like,
good for you. If someone's a gold digger, I'm like, have at it.
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard
to take money from men. It's not that hard.
It is.
Not that I.
It is for a sapiosexual
with convictions.
Yeah.
I don't have any trouble taking money from men. Not that I do often, but make their pockets hurt.
That's not. I feel like feminism is equity.
Yeah,
and equality, not power over.
No.
Or detrimental. Do you know what I mean?
No, but I think the byproduct of extreme misogyny is
that the pendulum has to swing.
Yeah. To like get it back to center almost.
Yeah. So actually this does foray well into what we were planning on talking about because of the wage gap.
Yes. Between men and women, if that
you aren't aware of that.
Fall on the wage gap. I wonder if we have enough data to make a.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a male perceived they.
Well, it's probably it's probably a perception thing.
Yeah, which is bonkers.
It is bonkers. Dang, I'm blowing up.
Clunk. That was
too many.
Clunk.
Too many. I should have turned my phone on airplane mode.
God, I hope your mom doesn't die while we're recording this.
It was on airplane mode. That's hilarious.
When Meredith found out her mom was on hospice,
to have it on. Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
When Meredith found out
we were at work.
We were at work on our lunch break eating Five Guys, and she just starts crying, and I'm like, what is it?
It was really sweet though, because Kelsey doesn't really like to touch people, and so she still came over and she was like, "I don't know what you need. I don't know if you need a hug or not, but I'm just gonna do it anyways." And Kelsey's like,
"They're there." There's a scene in 30 Rock where Liz is puking and Alec Baldwin has a broom and he's like, "They're there," and she's like, "That feels so good, thank you," and he's like. Same energy.
Yeah, if the roles were reversed, you would be like in my bosom.
Right,
There's
squished.
no, I'm not a light hugger.
Right. I mean, yeah, Meredith respects my boundaries, and we only hug when everyone else in the room is hugging, so people don't think we hate each other. It's like, okay,
it's true.
It's also like I see you almost not every day, but.
Close.
Pretty close. Like if we average it out, it's an every other day situation. Yeah. So it's kind of like we'll get to it.
Yeah.
In moments of.
And I had just been telling you, I was like, I don't know if my empathetic self can take this. Ukraine and our kids had a virtual day instead of a snow day because of the ice, because they've had too many snow days.
Yeah, so they have to.
So now they don't get any more, which is just so, these poor kids, these poor kids. And then I noticed that their teacher was staying on Zoom during their break time in order to talk with the kids, because you literally have some kids, even in third grade, who are home alone.
Right. This
just
is
with no
part one of Meredith crying to me at work.
That was part one. And then my mom said, hold my beer.
I got this. But Susan's keeping it light.
Things
over
come
the
in
Casa de
threes.
Owens.
Ukraine, kids doing virtual school,
Oh,
and
boy.
my mother.
The scale of severity is varying. It's just anything that makes Meredith cry. The Euphoria finale. The final
It
exam.
sounded like you were just being sassy because they're in high school. So
It was unintentional.
Euphoria final.
Oh, that'd be good. Euphoria. Get
They also
at me.
ended with a play. So I mean, come
Was
on. It was like
was it-
taking candy from a baby for
Yeah.
me to cry.
Right. I mean,
It was stunning.
I haven't watched it, but I do know how it ends because we were talking about this. I love a spoiler. I do. I will literally look
That's
up
exactly
what
what
happens
people
in movies.
hope for when they make great art.
Well, I
is that
still
you don't
enjoy
experience
it.
it fully.
I still enjoy it, and it's still poignant. But it's the same reason why I listen to kind of sad music, because my energy is usually always up here. At least in my head. You look so irritated.
I'm just all of a sudden I'm just sitting in the place of the creators of Euphoria and thinking about
really
how
enjoy it.
pissed they have to be.
Sorry, creators of Euphoria. You could get them to remake Kodachrome. Can you erase my trauma so I can enjoy your art fully? Thanks.
That's why my boyfriend has been trying to get me to finish Twin
Peaks. We're not referring to the restaurant establishment.
Twin Peaks.
The cinematic experience.
David Lynch's masterpiece. And here's the thing. I fully agree. The first iteration back in the day was a masterpiece. Then 25 years later, he got to do it on Showtime. And so there's no
rules.
No rules.
So there's lots of boobs is what you're telling me.
So there's lots of boobs and there's lots of almost ultra violence.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
rough.
I've been like, Dylan, can you warn me about stuff if it's going to be super traumatic? He's like, I really haven't I watched it when it first came out. I don't really remember that much. And we're watching it and there's literally an episode where out of nowhere, a 4-year-old is playing with their mom. They go to cross the street and the 4-year-old gets hit and killed by a truck out of nowhere. And so I'm just bawling.
You're like, for what?
I am ugly crying to the extreme. And Dylan's like, well, it's not real.
Point well made.
It feels
Dylan.
real to me.
That happens in The Wire.
Oh, spoiler alert, I guess, if you two are working through Twin Peaks.
I also think there should be a statute of limitations on spoilers. We could spoil The Sixth Sense. I won't, but we could because it's old.
So old.
So it's if you've not heard a joke about it by now, then.
But it's so old that it's not even accessed by people anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are teenagers who
don't flock to it.
flock to M. Night Shyamalan. No, yeah. Not a lot of teenagers are flocking to M. Night Shyamalan.
Now that you said that, Gen Z is going to awaken
Please
M. Night Shyamalan.
do. That's fine.
And they're going to be watching, what's that movie? The
Happening? Which one?
I don't know. He's a lot of the scenarios.
Yes,
the
Village.
Happening,
and I don't
Village.
care. I love The Village. I don't care. I do.
that the one where there's like whispering and fog, or is that the Happening?
That's The Happening. In The Happening, Mark Wahlberg at one point goes, "Come on, guys, what are we, in a gang or something?" And it's just one of my favorite lines in all of the cinematic universe of everything.
Not here's looking at you, kid.
No, because we were in the theater, and I'm just like, is this real?
Did you laugh
time? Yeah, I thought from the beginning that was like, oh, is he so brilliant that he's making a spoof of all of it? And that's not what it was. It wasn't a spoof. That's with Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. She was talking about how she doesn't like most scary movies, especially if they're filmed. But she was in it. She's like, can we film it all in the light and then maybe add the darkness in post-production?
So
like, I was like, we're the same person, but not. She's like a musical genius.
Really?
She is. She's like.
So fun fact, too, her mom was in Twin Peaks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Full fucking circle.
She was, why can't I? Oh, Dylan, don't listen to this.
I
get mad at me for
you
not
can make up a name
characters.
And I'd be like,
no, but for people who have watched it, it's prominent. Like, she's the doctor's wife and what's her name's mother.
I'm making like a mind map in my head, and it's like doctor's wife. What's her name?
The actress who dated Jack Nicholson. Laura Flynn. No, she wasn't in it. Was she? Was Laura Flynn Boyle in Twin Peaks?
No.
Now I've got to. Are you getting it, Randy? Twin Peaks cast.
While we're waiting, please admire my
oh yes
t-shirt.
Kelsey's
Meredith
t-shirt
from Youth.
Yes, it is Laura Flynn Boyle.
Oh, which one is she?
She is right there.
Oh, okay.
And,
a little young for Jack Nicholson.
Well, she was. There was like controversy about it
sure.
when it happened. But yeah.
That guy that plays the captain on How I Met Your Mother, and they talk about how if you
Which
cover
guy?
Kyle
MacLachlan?
Yeah. I love him. Because, like, there's a bit, and it's like, if you cover this half of his face, he looks mad because he's got, like, mad eyes. But, like, you cover his eyes and he looks happy. And
That's
it's like,
funny.
It's a whole bit. It's really fun. He's called the captain in that because he loves his.
I knew him
boat.
as Trey from Sex and the City.
Right.
Before I knew him as
from anything else.
Detective Agent Cooper. But yes, back to what we plan to discuss, which is career assessments.
It's career day on OGs. So we've mentioned before that we're stand-up comics, amongst other things.
Yes.
So we thought it'd be funny to talk about like things we wanted to be when we were kids, but also take career assessments and see what the internet / I'm assuming psychological, sociological professionals who contribute to these types of assessments. My mentor, not my comedy mentor because that's Meredith, but my like school mentor. I mean, so you are. Sweet. It'd be funny
I don't know if
someone
I've been
else
doing
thought,
it long enough to be your mentor, but
that's fair enough.
I can be your spirit guide.
That sounds problematic for living by Meredith hopping rules. I think
can you
mentor
say
is
spirit
okay.
guide?
I don't know.
Or is spirit guide problematic?
I don't know. I was just.
I know
being
spirit
you.
animal is not.
It's not good.
We're not supposed to do that.
No. Yeah, Brene Brown said that, and she got like attacked, and she was like, I don't know, and she made like a really nice. She's like, I'm not going to take the episode down. I'm not going to take it down.
That's
but,
one of my favorites because we're getting tons of stories, right, about Ukraine and everything that's happening over there. And there was one where someone was watching the news with their grandfather, like 80 something. And he was saying, why are they saying Kyiv instead of Kiev?
Mm-hmm.
And Kyiv is the Ukrainian.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Iteration of how we would say it.
Okay.
And so by doing that little change, Kiev is the Russian. And so that's just a small way that newscasters are showing solidarity is by saying Kiev instead of Kiev.
Oh,
And,
I was wondering about that too.
And it's just like, it's not that hard to learn and just say, sorry.
Right. Be like, oh,
I'll do better.
Right. It really isn't. It's like, but that's a whole other topic. We could, it's less funny if we talk about cancel culture and people, and, trying.
At some point we can.
We can dive in.
Once we have a committed audience.
That's going to let us get serious.
Dedicated.
Committed, dedicated, expansive, perhaps.
Right. Okay. So
right now we're just talking to my husband and like a couple others.
First, let's talk about our guesses for each other.
Okay. Yeah.
Like what we would guess we would get.
A little goofy.
Okay, I'm going to guess for you there's some data analyst stuff.
Something like that.
No, don't answer yet. Okay. Just let me guess.
Oh, there's like mine is an extensive.
You can't show me.
You can't read that.
I want to do it.
Meredith, you can't read that font from here. Can you? No one can read it. You can't read that. Jeez Louise.
Go gadget eyes.
Jeez. What a reference, Meredith. You're so hip. I love Inspector
Gadget. Is that even right? Is that the right thing?
Inspector Gadget. Yeah, there you go. I love that movie because his car was so cool.
That movie? Did you not watch the animated show?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh,
I know the movie with what's his face.
Generation gap. Yeah, I knew Inspector Gadget, the cartoon character.
And I've heard the joke in a TV show about a porn called Inspect Her Gadget.
Oh, heavens.
My favorite thing is in film and like movies and TV when they like are talking about porn and they list titles and it's always like spoofs on movies. And
you could make a porn title about literally anything.
And it's one of my favorite
throw it
things.
out. Seriously, throw something out random.
National Treasure.
That's just a porn title by itself.
Yeah. I was like Barney.
That's
Barney
just
and
a
Friends.
man's name. That's just an orgy with a man named Barney.
Who's painted purple and like latex body paint, probably. Oh man, some of these are wild.
Some of your okay. So I'm gonna guess data analyst. I'm gonna guess veterinarian. I'm gonna guess. I feel like they probably just threw in graphic designer. I am gonna guess maybe chemist. Okay, those are my four. So data analyst, veterinarian. What were my other two?
Chemist,
and graphic designer.
Yeah, that's the one you felt like they just tossed.
So reveal.
So basically, yes, along those lines.
Oh.
But they're a lot funnier.
Maybe I should be a career assessor.
For example, based on the skills that I have, because I did like 5 different things that they build for like one analysis or whatever.
Okay.
And so one of them was like based off what skills you have, and one of the results was clergy member, religious leader in parentheses. And I was like, probably not. Chaplain is on there. Child support investigator. Yeah. Fish and game warden.
So rules.
Yeah.
A lot of rules and dictating to people how to live.
Highway patrol pilot. I mean, some of these things I didn't even know were jobs. Like jailer.
It's all controlling people.
Midwife.
It is.
Narcotics investigator. Newspaper. Yeah. Nuclear
That's what they
fuels.
all have in
There's
common.
a research. Yeah. Nuclear fuels research engineer.
But literally none of them are like independent work.
Patient advocate. No.
They're all about
police
having some impact on someone's environment.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's based off my skills in social worker,
That makes
tax
sense.
assessor. No sign of chemist, but chemist adjacent speculations. Ballistics expert, which I've always secretly wanted to be a ballistics expert, like on CSI or something. Be like, you can clearly see from the angle and the trajectory and the casing and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Like
You'd get to put up all the string.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't need string because I'd be an expert, so I could just eyeball it. Or do you mean like
just
on
know the trajectory?
Yeah, I'd just be like, test the wind and all that.
Okay, guess mine. We took very different.
Oh yeah.
Also, we took very different tests. I forgot to do it
Googled version
and did it just now very quickly.
Bowen, you were right.
Leave me alone. My mom's dying.
This was 2 weeks ago that this assignment was given.
You think I wasn't going to wait until like the hour before to do it?
When we were going to do it last week, I was like, there's no way she's even done it yet. And so when it was like weather, she was like, my kid's sick and there's bad weather.
All of it.
Her kid was
validly.
I was like valiantly ill. That doesn't
legitimately
ill.
Okay, so what are your guesses? Clergy. Okay.
Dietitian.
I
don't know. One of those waitresses at the restaurants that are mean to you on purpose. Ed DeBevics.
That's
like a
what you're.
waitress.
Oh my gosh, you have such high thoughts about me.
Oh, these are just the things that are coming to my head.
Okay, what's your fourth one?
Chairman and CEO of Goldman Sachs.
Ew.
Literally the first things that are coming to my head, I'm saying out loud.
Getting
it to number 5 is going to be porn star. That was number 5. That was the 5th career that came to my head.
No, I wouldn't be able to do.
I think you would care too much.
Yeah.
And be a little too into the... My character probably wouldn't gargle cum and then spit it out into the guy's face.
God. Sorry, Mom.
I had 3
if you're still alive and hear it.
She'll get a kick out of this.
If not, she'll hear it in heaven.
Oh, and she'll be like, gather round, angels. Let's listen to my child and her friend.
St. Peter.
Oh, Moses. Oh. Moses is probably just tired.
I don't know. Moses might be a big Joe Rogan guy.
Oh, that'd be something fun. Like, which biblical figures are like really into Joe Rogan?
Yeah. Oh, not John the Baptist. Not my John the Baptist.
Not Abraham. He would never. He's far too wise.
Okay. Zacchaeus, maybe.
I don't know. He just have like a
wee little man.
Like a
wee
crypto
little man
like
was he.
An NFT guy.
And he was a tax guy.
Yeah, see, there you go. Yeah, so hit me. What'd you have?
Ready? 1. Choreographer.
Okay, yeah, I believe that.
I can't dance.
But they're detecting your energy that you would pretend like you could.
Okay, 2.
Bullshit your way.
Translator.
Another secret career wish of mine to be like a UN translator.
Yeah. Photography teacher.
Just a photography
really
teacher,
bad.
not a photographer.
Right. Let me see what the lowest one is. Architect.
Yeah.
And it got as specific as Montessori school teacher.
Is that because
it's not like, yeah, I would do that. I love Montessori.
I
Are
go
we
back
gonna
and
get
forth.
into philosophies of education?
I think some people take it way too way too literally. I think the tenets of it, because like our kids went to a Charlotte Mason school, which is like Montessori adjacent.
Right.
Another one of those French assholes are like, these Americans in their one-room schoolhouses.
But very much focused on the arts and
and like giving kids, fostering independence, like putting things at their level, which I agree with the philosophy of that all. Like,
and work as play.
Yeah. So yeah, I see the value of it, but I do think people go like crunchy moms go real hard for Montessori stuff, and that's when I'm just like, this feels a little too extreme. But
no, and I know like I'll probably get hate mail for this, but I tried to do Montessori with Eleanor, and then I was just like, I really like that she is stuck in her crib.
Yeah, like
because true Montessori, then like you take out the mattress,
floor, right? Yeah,
so that they still and make their whole room like they have access to everything anytime they want. And I'm just like, nope,
like not my
I want her stuck in a crib.
Not like
that confinement is great.
My Cecilia will like, she'll say like, "Hey Dad, do you want to go get me some candy?" And she'll like raise her eyebrows, and I'm like, who is this child? Like, that kind of child needs to be in a crib.
That's so funny.
It's a little too dangerous for the world. But yeah, there's just some of it. Yeah, some like
I love it. I love people that can do it and can go for it.
Sure.
Do it.
Yeah, but like, I think there's a certain amount of privilege that comes with being able to live.
For sure.
Too.
Anything simple.
Oh yeah.
Anything simple and any sort of lifestyle choice is actually equatable.
I don't know. Say it. I'll see where you're going with it.
Equated. I think equated with privilege.
There you go. Yeah.
So even like, I want to farm my own organic vegetables.
Because then you can still go to the store if your garden fails.
Right.
Like you didn't invest all your money in a garden and now you're
I want to use all natural, free and clear things that are more expensive. It's
paraben free.
Right. It's all economic disparity. Ooh, that's another one. Recovering Ukraine and economic disparity on today's episode.
Us fat.
No, but that's another thing that happened when I was in between our last episode is I went to Bloomington to do a show.
My brain was like, I went to Ukraine. Like it's the blue eyeshadow. I'm surprised you didn't want one blue eye and one yellow eye.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I'm so glad
you
didn't.
There's little yellow flecks on my dress too.
Your face is on my outfit, so I'm no better. Because if you were thinking about Ukraine and being empathetic towards Ukraine,
you were thinking about being empathetic towards me.
Yeah, my husband was like, "Did you ever think maybe you should wear a T-shirt with my face on it so you could show how much you love me?" And I was like, literally never crossed my mind.
No, I've got a Facebook status that lets people know that. We're married on Facebook.
Yeah. Except for the one time I was really mad at him and I unmarried him on Facebook.
I went to show someone a picture of Dylan and I couldn't find it in my Instagram. It was like from way early on in our relationship. And I was like, oh, that's because I got mad at him and archived some of our pictures together. Oops.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
I had to request a marriage status again to Bowen, and I was like, he should have just like let it ride out and been like,
let it expire. But I was headed to Bloomington to open for the ridiculously amazing Sam Talent. Probably the most amazing comic I've seen, which is a bit like that is saying something. But he literally roasted the crowd and the town of Bloomington Normal for probably 30 minutes. Just like complete riffing.
There's a comedian, Kyrie, I can't remember his last name, but he was at Flyover and he literally just for 30 minutes just roasted and it was the funniest shit. He first roasted Jeremy Helwig because he kept calling him not Kyrie, calling him like something else, like
sweet Jeremy.
I know, and he was just like
who wants so badly to be woke,
right? And he was just like
correctly. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was Kiri. He was calling him Kiri because his name it's like KY, or something.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, we will. He's a great comedian. He's so fucking funny. He's so hilarious, and he just roasted.
Yeah,
and I feel like all the best comics can just extemporaneously roast whatever and whoever and wherever they are.
But it was amazing because he was just like, what in the world is actually going on in this town that's so nefarious that you had to call it normal? And then he was like, also, this place, the venue, sounds like someone just like quickly had to think of a name for the first like
they're like night
media
shop.
Blast. Night shop.
Night shop. That's it.
Things
That's
happen at night.
Or like there were two people arguing back and forth, and all of a sudden someone was like, "No, it's called Night Shop." That's what it is.
And then like the other thing he said was something about like you just keep naming things just what they are. You guys have no creativity. And there was not a heckler, but like an over excited audience member, and she was like, ISU is here, Illinois State University, wow, Redbirds. And he was like, what? You literally named your mascot a red bird?
You're just adding evidence to his point.
Red bird.
Not cardinals.
No, just red bird.
Redbirds.
Red bird.
Brown horse.
Right.
Gray elephant. Multicolored sloth.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Stop heckling and commenting from the audience unless the comedian asks you to.
It's really
it's
a
unnecessary.
Big problem.
You're making, especially if you don't like the comedian, you're heckling, you're gonna make their act funnier because they're gonna roast the shit out of you most of the time.
Yeah. Well, and also it's just like there are times when comedians will ask you.
It's true. Yeah. They
will
will
ask you to respond,
input.
and that's it. You don't keep talking and having a conversation after that.
This is not therapy.
No.
This is our therapy, the ones with the microphone. It's our time.
But we should
to
also
shine.
have real therapy.
Yes, I do have real therapy.
So do I.
Shout out
it's
Shelley.
It's an important thing.
Shelly's going on vacation to.
Oh, Shelly.
I know. So
you know
I
what
can't
that
have an
does
appointment
to
with her.
me?
We had our first appointment, and she's like, "It's been a while," and I'm like, "Yeah, Shelly." Well, it's because there was an insurance issue. Because fuck insurance, they're like, "We're not going to pay."
Thank you.
I can talk
American
shit about our
medical
insurance because
system.
Bowen got a new job, so we can get different insurance.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm
it
just
just
finding
happened.
out.
Well, your mom has been dying. I didn't think Bowen's
Well, maybe
career
I'd like some
changed.
good news.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, he got hired at
Probably
Boeing.
shouldn't-
Bowen at Boeing. Who gives a fuck? Boeing. Thank you for giving my husband a job. I'm really excited because it's Boeing at Boeing.
That's a lot.
It makes my brain hurt to say it.
Yeah.
Like when I have to explain what his name is. And it's nicer because if I say it, people don't care. They're like, okay, move along. But if he says it, they're like, he's like, Bowen rhymes with Owen. And I'm like, when he introduced himself to me, he's like bow and arrow. Yeah, it's a very Irish name. He was conceived in Ireland.
Irish.
And his dad's side of the family is literally
Irish.
from Ireland. My father-in-law gets an Irish accent just out of sympathy,
Really?
I guess. Just like, some men have sympathy pains for their like pregnant wives. He has sympathy for just not being in Ireland. I feel like when he's around Irish breakfast tea, it kind of just comes
Not
out.
whiskey. It's Irish breakfast
He doesn't really
tea.
drink whiskey that much because he's got diabetes.
Yeah. It's so funny. My dad doesn't drink at all. And this professor from Illinois State, where my mom had worked, came over to see my mom yesterday. And my dad was like, you shared my first and my last whiskey shot with me at Susan's retirement party. And the guy was like, well, I'll bring you another one when she goes. Like, okay.
When Bowen's grandma died, she's Irish.
Yeah.
Like literally her mom and dad were both from Ireland. And when she died, what's the Catholic version of a pastor? Monsignor.
A priest?
Priest. Thank you, priest. I was like, dude with a collar. He came. He like did
Although
some visits.
all clergy members can wear collars.
Oh, that's fair. I didn't know that was an option. Should look
So
at
if you see a woman
Mormon
walking
bishops.
around with a clergy collar, it's not like.
Well, I know that. I know women can be.
But even like people will be like, "Oh, nice Halloween costume."
Oh, people are dumb. But when she died, the priest came over and he was like hanging with us, and we got out some Patty's Irish whiskey. And he's like, "Oh,
yeah, priests totally drink."
I know, I love it.
Protestants,
as they should.
It's like we let the Catholics and the Jews keep all the fun stuff, all the good stuff.
I think Jews maybe, I won't say they earned it, but like they deserve it. Like they can just have some fun.
No, but Judaism has some amazing traditions.
Super fun. Passover?
I'm just like.
I participated in Passover once. It was so much fun. I did not enjoy the bitters, like the part of it.
So you're talking about a Seder meal?
Yeah, that's part of Passover? Is that like,
like
couple it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought a Seder is a meal, right? But it's not.
Is the specific meal.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So there was like, maybe there still is, but there was a hot trend with like all these Protestants being like, but we're doing Seder meals for Good Friday.
Ugh.
Like you're probably not doing it well. Like to do that and foot washing.
Ew. Mormons never did that.
Well, then you don't know how to love like Jesus.
Thank God. I'd rather not if I have to wash someone's feet.
Oh, it was like I would get scared out of my mind at stuff where there was feet washing, like when I was younger.
Gun to my head, I'd do it. But like to learn how to love like Jesus, no thanks. I'll feed a blind person.
Because it's considered like a very humble thing to do, to wash someone else's feet. But
my brain's like, you don't want to be that humble.
Well, and also just like, it's so funny that a religion that's like so against touch and sexuality can be, what if someone has a foot fetish?
Quentin Tarantino
there's a person just going around to all these Maundy Thursday services like, I'm gonna get my feet washed and I'm gonna
looking for feet
see
to wash.
all these feet.
What if there's just a guy in the background that's just like watching feet get washed?
That's literally one of the most vulnerable parts about church, though, when you think about it. Like, I've logged a lot of my life in church. And you think about that, like there have been church shootings and synagogue shootings and everything, but where it's literally like everyone's welcome.
Right. Yeah. It is very
and you just
which is why it's so heinous. But I mean, since we've talked too much about, this is the problem, is that Meredith and I get to this point where we're like not seeing the side of the bad guy or the bad guy, but to the point where like, can we really even call them a bad guy? Like, what happened in their life to drive them to do this? Like, it's almost hard to
there's
call.
A lot.
It's getting harder the more you understand about the human brain and trauma, and not even just trauma, but just like the male experience in the world is fucking traumatic to an extent. Like, it brainwashes you from the time you're born. No offense, Randy. You're great.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's not only the male experience. I think it's also just trauma. And I think it's what the church would call generational sin, right?
Wow.
Like what you cannot put in a vacuum your experience versus your mother's experience versus your grandmother's experience, because all of that affects the next thing. So like, even if there was nothing, like if you have a great grandparent that experienced severe abuse, there's no way that doesn't affect you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I feel like that's what I think of as generational sin. Yeah. I could be wrong. I only went to seminary by proxy.
I attended seminary, but the Mormon version. So every morning, did I tell you this? Every morning before school in high school, seminary.
Ugh.
So like 6 o'clock in the morning at a church. And the last 2 years
Protestants
I did seminary.
Don't do that. But I think Catholics do something like that.
It's like they do one in like 8th grade, I think, but it's like usually after school. In Utah, it's like a part of the school day. Like it's built into your class schedule. So it's like part of high school, which is fucking weird to me to even think about. But then they're like, let's give this to the Midwesterners that have like 8 Mormons in school. So they have to go early. So you have to sacrifice. And it's just like, okay. I enjoyed it for the most part. In the last 2 years, I had a deaf teacher because I'm fluent in ASL because there's a deaf student. And so they wanted to make a deaf class because it was just easier. He didn't pay attention. It was great. He always we had this running joke because they'd be like, and Austin, what do you think? And he'd be like, drugs. Because they're like talking about like sins and stuff. And he'd just be like, drugs every time.
That's the only sin.
Well, it was just like, because we were like listing things that, I don't remember, but it was like a running joke that he was like, and drugs. Because
So
he was just so tired. And like, because he had to go to a school in Peoria. We were in Pekin because that's the only place where they were mainstreaming kids, like deaf kids. So
that's insane.
Yeah. But it was pretty fun to have that. But so what did you want to be when you were growing up, Meredith?
Well, I also would like to circle back to my story about getting to Bloomington.
Oh yeah. Sam Talent Night Shop, Redbirds.
Sam Talent Night Shop, Redbird. Redbird.
It's just a red bird.
Red bird.
We are the red bird.
It's actually Fred Bird.
It is Fred Bird, the red bird. I'm glad you didn't find that information out.
No. Because why does the red bird have to have a gender?
Also, isn't Fredbird the Cardinals?
Wait. Oh, dang it. Did I do that wrong?
Yeah, I think he's the Cardinals.
No, I think
it's the same. Oh, Randy's on it.
Yeah, Illinois State University's mascot.
Name. What's his name?
Reggie. It's Reggie. It's Reggie. It's not Fredbird. Dang it. That's what I get for dating that one guy that lived at Ballpark Village.
Brainwashed by Fredbird.
Brainwashed by Fredbird.
Fredbird. Every time there's a Redbird mention, it's like Fredbird. Yeah.
I still am upset. This
if
is
you're
a local reference.
Big Bird would be trouble.
I didn't know when I started dating this guy that living at Ballpark Village was a huge red flag.
I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't think.
And then no one told me either.
We just want you to live your life, Meredith.
I was trying to go out of my comfort zone and date a sporty guy.
I was hoping he was rich so he could like rescue you from your debt. And an act of philanthropy.
No,
but that didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
Maybe if we were in LA.
What?
You'd find a philanthropic millionaire who wanted to rescue you from your debt.
Eat the rich.
Jeff Bezos. The problem with Jon Stewart, they did like a movie scenario with the guy that plays what's his face in Seinfeld? George Alexander? George Costanza.
George.
Is his name George?
His real name's not George Costanza. It's Jason Alexander.
Thank you. But he was playing Jeff Bezos, and then there was like, they had a mop playing Richard Benson. Is that the CEO of Virgin Mobile? The blonde guy, or not blonde, the white-haired guy.
Richard
Branson. And they had a mop playing Richard Branson.
That's so good.
And it was funny. So it was like a trailer for a movie, and it was just really funny.
That is really funny.
Oh yeah, it was hilarious. And then they were talking about, this is the last sidebar about the problem with Jon, well, specifically. Yeah, we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
They were talking about like jobs in America and like how, you could have like 2 bachelor's degree and a master's degree and still be living at the poverty line. Yeah. And, but then they did like these like caricature ads. And one of them was like the real blue collar comedy tour. And it's like, this is their weekend job. Please buy merch. Cause they were like,
yeah,
cause
I'm horrible at hawking merch.
As in like, you forget that you have it.
No, I remember I have it. I just don't like asking people.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very natural.
Not a good salesperson. Anyways.
Me neither. Sam Talent, Redbird.
Reggie the Redbird. And So I'm driving up there with my 3 kids, and it's going great. Everyone's got their tablets. We've got the Hamilton soundtrack blaring. Thank you, Lin-Manuel.
Oh, Lin-Manuel. Manuel.
Don't cancel me. I don't think I'm supposed to say it like that.
You can say a person's name the way their accent dictates. Like if they say it that way, then you can say it that way. I don't think that's something you have to worry about.
Let us
Randy,
know,
I think
listeners.
Meredith needs a nap.
Let us know, listeners. And then all of a sudden, right outside, we were on Interstate 55, and right before the Sherman exit, my left rear driver's side tire just blows. And we luckily made it to the side of the road. It was actually terrifying. We made it to the side of the road. I immediately called my dad. Dylan was sick in St. Louis, and I called my dad because we were closer to normal than we were to St. Louis. And my dad was like, okay, well, why don't, I'll come that way. It's going to be this long. Why don't you call the state police so that they know that you're there? And so then I was like, I'm going to do this myself. And I did at least get out. I got the spare out, which is a feat in and of itself.
It's like
you have to get it to drop from the
cubbyhole. It's a little penthouse.
Except it's but in the Honda Pilot, you have to use a tool to turn a thing so that it drops from the bottom. So then I had that out. I had the jack out, and I was rolling around on the ground as semis are just not giving a you-know-what about it. They were just
they weren't giving a fuck about it.
And so I was just like, no, this is not, I don't want to do this. I don't want to die. And the state trooper shows up, and he's like, okay, so what's the plan? And I said, well, I've got help coming, and then I'd like to just leave it here until tomorrow morning because it's not safe to change the tire right now. And his response was to say, well, no, it's a 2-hour limit or you're going to get towed. And I was like, I don't have money to get the car, to have the car towed. He said, well, I'm not going to tow you, but I can't tell you what my colleagues are going to do. And I said, well, maybe you could tell your colleagues not to tow me. And he said, no, because then I'd be telling them not to follow our policy. And that's when I knew he wasn't really going to do anything for me. So I just said, well, maybe you should change your unjust policies. And he didn't really like that. And then what's hilarious is the girls were with me in Ferguson, right? When Michael Brown was murdered. They have a very strong sense of social justice and a healthy questioning of authority at all. Mm-hmm. And so they're both not saying anything, sort of giving him a stink eye.
Just a little bit of attitude.
And Gus is like, thank you so much, Mr. Police Officer. Because he watches Paw Patrol. It's Paw Propaganda. That made me.
How long did you just come up with that?
Take me now, God. Just take me with my mom. I'm not going to do better than this.
2 birds, 1 lightning
Paw
bolt.
Propaganda.
Paw Propaganda. That's fucking hilarious.
But the best part is he thought that, because I told him my dad was only 10 minutes away. Ryder. And so he thought that he was going to be done, right, in 10 minutes. And so then my dad's just like, no, they're not going to tow it. I'm going to fix it, take my car and get to the show. And I was like, okay, because Big Ray is a saint. He is a living saint. And he was there for another 45 minutes trying to change it, and then realized that the jack was missing a part. And so went to the state trooper and just said, you're going to follow me on the shoulder until I can take the exit and get to the nearest gas station. And no one's going to say no to Ray either.
Also, how do police officers not have a jack on their car?
I don't think like liability wise they
can't protect and serve.
But like think about that though. Think about that
Serve.
one policy that you can only have a broken down car on the side of the interstate for 2 hours. I understand that it's a safety issue. However, it also is such an economic disparity issue that it's not even funny, because if someone loses their car, they can't go to work.
Right.
And then they can't make the money in order to get the car out of the impound.
Right.
And it, like, I even said on stage, I was like, Illinois, you legalized weed. Like, get over it and change some of these money-making things.
I say it's to feed big towing.
Big towing.
It's all part of it. It's part of
it is. It is.
Do they have a tow truck Paw Patrol character?
I'm sure.
What's that? There's like a car, animated car, not Cars, but there's like another one, like Rescue Riders. I don't know. If Gus was here, he would know. He'd be like jumping up and down to tell us.
Yeah.
But Meredith made it to her show.
I made it to my show, and
Ray fixed the car.
Then Dylan replaced the tire once we got to St. Louis, and that's all better. Yeah. But I think I was, because of economic disparity. That's what I was thinking about that. And so, yeah, it's just, but also back to Sam Talent. He was just an amazing, amazing headliner, and invited all the comics to just hang out with him for the night. We got to go and watch him get a haircut. And yeah, he was like talking to his wife a lot, and just cute. Just a lovely, lovely, hilarious person.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I feel like we should have done like a cliffhanger in the middle of that. Like if you want to know if Meredith
anywhere. We can split this anywhere. It doesn't have to be right at an hour.
I know, but I just wanted to do a cliffhanger.
It's okay.
If you want to know what happens,
tune in next
like
time.
The old radio serials.